Oh, this is Mike Benoit, and this is another episode of Tyranny Busters. Tyranny Busters comes from Thomas Jefferson's famous quote, where he swore on the altar of God an eternal hostility over every form of tyranny upon the mind of man. And he's talking about mind control. Now, if you don't agree with me, go ahead and tell me. But, because I don't want to build a tyranny on your mind, but tyranny upon the mind of man. Tyranny is taking control of something you have no right to take control of. And tyranny upon the mind of man, taking control of somebody's mind. And how do you do it? By lies and deceit and propaganda, misinformation, improper weight of information, disorganized information, altering the facts and the sequences of events so that you don't come up with a proper calculation and conclusion. So I too swear this eternal hostility over every form of tyranny upon the mind of man. Now, people are wanting me to support Rand Paul. Why wouldn't I support Rand Paul? I supported Ron Paul. I supported Ron Paul for years, maybe decades. I supported him in his campaign in 2008, 2012. Not just this typical, little people say I supported, they sent a few bucks or they told people to, vote for Ron Paul. But I worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. I headed up the Ron Paul meetup group in San Diego both times. And it was constant. It was an eternal battle, eternal vigilance for liberty. And why did I support Rand Paul? I'm a libertarian. In fact, I didn't change my registration. I couldn't vote. Ron Paul. I couldn't vote for Ron Paul. I went to rallies at Republican meetings where they were organized several dozen people to go to the rallies, and they'd go inside the building. And I would stand out by myself with the signs because I'm a libertarian. And, some people think they changed their registration to vote for Ron Paul. That was a big thing. Well, and then how much did I spend? I'm not going to go into how much I spent. Now along comes people are saying, how can you don't support Rand Paul? He's a libertarian. They're saying he's like his dad. He has similar positions to his dad. No, they're different. Night and day, they're different. And this is what I see. Maybe you don't agree with it. That's fine. Maybe you got a tyranny upon your mind and you can't see it. But Ron Paul is a liberator. Rand Paul is a controller. Rand Paul has coveted the presidency so he could be in control. He thinks he would be a better controller, a better reformer. Rand Paul, he would fix Social Security, by raising the retirement age. Hey, you guys, we spent all this money, we blew it, so you have to wait till you're older to get any of it back. Ron Paul, well, he would work a system where the younger generation would be freed from it. Rand Paul, he'd audit the Fed. Ron Paul, he'd get rid of the Fed. Rand Paul, he thinks that to go to war, you should have, Congress declare it. But does that mean he wouldn't? He'd want Congress to approve the use of drones? No, he already said he'd use drones. He already said he would approve sanctions against countries that don't do what they want. Ron Paul would want to get rid of foreign aid. Rand Paul wants to make sure if they get the foreign aid, they're going to do our bidding. After all, that's what foreign aid really is, isn't it? It's to make the dictators in other countries do our bidding. Okay? So, this goes on and on. What did Ron Paul, running for president, still had the opportunity to have his name put out on the floor at the convention? Because he did have actually won 5 states, and his name should have been listed on the convention floor for votes to be taken. What did Rand Paul do prior to that? Endorsed Mitt Romney. All right, now there are some of my friends that saying, oh yeah, he's just doing this stuff to play along, to get along, and then he's going to change when he gets in there. Oh, so you want me to support someone who is lying from the get-go, knowing or hoping that he'll change when he gets in there, that it'll be different when he's in there, that he won't be a controlarian, a control area. Uh, Another thing, this Rand Paul, did I ever see 1 ounce of humility from this guy? Like, I wouldn't be a United States Senator if it wasn't for my father. That showed some appreciation there. I even saw a thing, a Father's Day PR stunt by him where he's talking about his father, which was an infomercial to get money. And I'm getting this thing like, oh, hey, conservatives, we got to get behind Rand Paul. I get emails every day uh, demanding how that they need this money to show that they can beat Hillary Clinton, da 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 da. And oh, you got to get behind Rand Paul, or he's the only one that can beat Hillary Clinton. This is not how we're going to fix things about one candidate beating another candidate. The way to fix these things is we have to have a whole sea change in the American system. We have to have, you and I, people out here in the general public have to have this sea change. We have to start realizing that we've got a government that's so perverted that it is upside down 100%. It doesn't protect rights, it violates them. Thomas Jefferson, his original draft of the Declaration of Independence, said that we have an inalienable right to defend our life, liberty, and property, not an inalienable right to life, liberty, and property. And the system is so messed up now that government does not preserve your right to defend your life, liberty, and property. It does the opposite. And these perversions of law, they're just riddled through the whole system. And you think another controller, another reformer like Rand Paul is going to come and fix things for you. Now, I didn't think Ron Paul was going to fix anything either. He was just championing liberty. And if we fixed anything, it was in people's minds to start looking for liberty and to stand up for liberty. Rand Paul's got a marvelous new income taxation system, and there's people that are defending this as a wonderful thing. It's like flat tax, 14%, 17%, this, that, the other thing. Nobody's going to pay a tax until they make a certain amount of money. Da, 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 da. Redistribution, again, based in plunder, and it's still slavery. And he's got some crazy idea that you don't pay taxes if you're making $50,000 or less. You're not going to pay income taxes. Nice. He's not talking about how this taxation system is slavery. In fact, he's talking about, it's just not applied properly. So it's Marxism, communism. Ron Paul would talk about getting rid of the income tax and replacing it with nothing. On the war on drugs, Rand Paul wants to lessen the penalties. Ron Paul would end this war on drugs. And anybody who's involved with writing a law to punish someone for using drugs, to arresting somebody for using drugs, to prosecuting for someone for using drugs, to imprisoning them, are all guilty of violating that person's life, liberty, and property. Those people are the criminals, but this is upside down. Rand Paul only wants to tell the criminals not to punish the innocent so much. So why, you want to ask me again why I won't support Rand Paul for president? And don't give me this lesser of evil stuff. I'm tired of it. So Mike Benoit, Tyranny Busters. This is Michael Benoit 7 YouTube, MB Libertarian 7 at earthlink.net. And I'd love to see your comments. All you Rand Paul supporters, come on out and blast him because you think he's your hero. Good evening.